You already know this feeling. You have been stressed, depleted, overwhelmed, and then you go outside. You step into a park or a garden or a stretch of trees, and within minutes, sometimes almost immediately, something shifts. Your shoulders drop, your breathing slows, the heaviness in your chest loosens slightly. Most people call that relaxation, or fresh air, or just a change of scene. But what is actually happening in your body in that moment is far more specific and far more extraordinary than most people know. Here is where I want to start with a number. A study published by researchers at the University of Michigan measured cortisol, which is your primary stress hormone. They measured in people who spend time in nature as part of their regular daily lives, not on a retreat, not in a controlled laboratory, in the course of an ordinary day. They found that spending 20 to 30 minutes in nature produced a 21.3% drop in cortisol per hour. That was the peak efficiency window. 20 to 30 minutes produced the greatest cortisol reduction for the time invested. 20 minutes, 21%. Not because people felt better, because their blood chemistry changed. That is not a wellness claim. That is a measurable biochemical event happening inside your body every time you step outside. And when you understand the mechanism behind it, why this happens, it changes how you think about what nature actually is. Because nature is not just an environment that helps you feel calm. It is a pharmacological system your nervous system was designed to interact with. So what is the mechanism? Why does being out among trees specifically, not just being outside, not just taking a walk, why does being among trees produce these measurable changes? The answer is phytoncides. Trees produce airborne chemical compounds, volatile organic compounds, to protect themselves from bacteria, from insects, and fungi. Different trees produce different phytoncides. Alpha pinene from pine and cedar, limonene from citrus trees. Other phytoncides are D-limonene and cedrol. These are the compounds responsible for the distinctive smell of a forest, that clean, woody, resinous scent. That smell is not just pleasant, it's the forest immune system expressed in the air. When you breathe forest air, you inhale these compounds. And here's what happens. Research by Professor Chin Lee, one of the world's leading researchers on forest medicine, showed that inhaling phytoncides increases the number and activity of natural killer cells, the immune system's primary defense against viruses and tumors. A single forest trip increased NK cell activity by 50% or more. And that increase lasted for more than 30 days after a single trip. 30 days from one walk in the trees. But for your nervous system specifically, phytoncides activate the parasympathetic nervous system. They are a direct biological signal to your body that you are in a safe, resource-rich environment. Your heart rate slows, blood pressure drops. The HPA axis, the stress response system, begins to deactivate and cortisol falls. The trees are not just providing a beautiful setting. They are exhaling compounds that directly regulate your autonomic nervous system. But there is a deeper reason why the nervous system responds to nature so immediately, and it goes back to something fundamental about how your nervous system was built. Your nervous system evolved over hundreds of thousands of years in natural environments. For almost all of human evolutionary history, nature was not a place you visited, it was your home. Your nervous system developed its stress detection systems, its threat assessment systems, its safety signals, all calibrated to a natural environment. The signals that told your nervous system you were safe were the sound of birdsong, the visual complexity of a forest canopy, the smell of earth and trees, the absence of sharp, sudden sounds, the presence of running water. These were the sensory inputs that meant no predators, that resources are available and rest is possible. Urban environments, screens, traffic, artificial light, constant notifications, noise, these send the opposite signal. The nervous system stays alert, cortisol stays elevated, and the sympathetic system stays active. When you step into nature, your nervous system receives the signals it evolved to associate with safety. The shift to parasympathetic dominance is not learned behavior. It is not relaxation technique. It is your nervous system recognizing the environment it was built for. This is why even 20 minutes produces measurable physiological change. You're not just calming down. You're returning to the sensory environment your nervous system was calibrated to. And what specifically happens to your brain during and after time in nature? Research from Stanford University found that people who walked in nature for 90 minutes showed reduced activity in the subgenual prefrontal cortex. That's the region of the brain with rumination. That loop of repetitive negative thinking that runs in the background when you are stressed and depleted. Time in nature physically quiets that region. Attention restoration therapy, which is a framework developed by researchers at the University of Michigan, explains why. Natural environments provide what researchers called soft fascination, the complexity of a forest canopy, the movement of water, the patterns of light. These gently engage your attention without demanding it, unlike a screen or a problem to be solved, which activate directed attention and deplete cognitive resources. Nature restores those resources. It allows the parts of your brain responsible for focus, decision-making, and emotional regulation to recover. A 50-minute park walk has been shown to improve working memory and focus attention by up to 20%. And serotonin, the neurotransmitter most associated with emotional stability and well-being, is stimulated by natural light filtering through trees, not screens, not artificial light, natural light in a natural environment. Your brain does not just feel better outside, it performs better, it regulates better, and it recovers from the demands of modern life faster. So what is the practical dose? How much nature do you actually need? The University of Michigan research identified 20 to 30 minutes as peak efficiency window. The best return on time invested for cortisol reduction. After 30 minutes, the benefits continue to build, but at a slower rate. And consistent daily exposure builds cumulative benefit over time. Research from the University of Exeter found that people who spent at least 2 hours in nature per week across the whole week, not necessarily in one block, they reported significantly better health and well-being than those who spent less time outdoors. 2 hours per week, that is 17 minutes per day. And here is a nervous system connection that I want you to hold on to from everything I share on this channel. Nature is not separate from your nervous system health. It is part of it. The same nervous system that needs herbal support, adequate sleep, and a regulated stress response. That nervous system was designed to spend time among trees. The phytoncides are not an add-on. They are part of the environment your nervous system evolved to rely on. So taking care of your nervous system means taking care of all the things it was built for. And for our nervous system, nature is not optional. It is foundational. And I want to make one connection before the close. The herbs I talk about on this channel, the adaptogens, the nervines, the plants that support the HPA axis and the parasympathetic system, they come from the same source as the medicine the trees are exhaling. They are nature's pharmacological intelligence, concentrated and prepared for daily use. Nature supports the nervous system as an environment. Herbs support it as a concentrated medicine. Both are part of the same relationship between the human nervous system and the natural world it was built for. You didn't go into nature to relax. You returned to something your nervous system never forgot. The phytoncides in the air, the soft fascination of a canopy, the sensory signals that have told your nervous system for hundreds of thousands of years that you are safe, that resources are available, that rest is possible. Modern life has moved us away from this environment, but biology has not changed. Your nervous system still knows what it is returning to when you step outside. 20 minutes, trees, no phone. Let the biology do what it was built to do. If this resonated, subscribe. Every week I share content on herbs, nutrition, brain health, and nervous system wellness, rooted in traditional medicine and neuroscience. Health Roots Holistic, rooted in nature, backed by science.